Hello students, welcome to physics class. Today we discuss an AC circuit containing a pure inductor. In the last chapter, that is in electromagnetic induction, we learned that a solenoid or a coil has a property that it opposes growth and decay of current. If there is any change in current in a circuit or in a coil, there is an opposing EMF produced in that coil. So that phenomenon is known as self-induction, and that coil is known as an inductor. So inductor is nothing but a coil which can oppose the growth and decay of current. Actually, this opposition is not resistive. That opposition is known as inductive inductance or inductive oppositions. It's not a resistive oppositions. Now let us see what is the relation between the voltage and current in an inductive circuit. Here we have a coil or an inductor of inductance N, and it is connected to a AC source of instantaneous voltage E equal to E0 sine omega t. E equal to E0 sine omega t. This is the instantaneous value of voltage in this inductive circuit. Say the self-inductance of this inductor is capital L. So once it is a AC circuit or AC source, there is a growth and decay of current. So because of this change in current, it produces a back EMF or opposing EMF in the circuit. So this opposing EMF depends on the rate of change of current. Let us say the growth or decay of current in the circuit is di by dt. So we can write the back EMF produced or induced EMF produced in the circuit is equal to minus L di by dt. By Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, the induced EMF or back EMF in this inductor is minus L di by dt, where di by dt is the rate of change of current and L is the self-inductance of the coil. So the net instantaneous EMF, there are two EMF in this circuit now. One is the applied voltage E0 sine omega t, and the other one is an opposing EMF, back EMF, due to the self-inductions. So we can write as net instantaneous EMF is equal to E minus L di by dt. This is the instantaneous applied voltage minus L di by dt is the back EMF. They are opposite in direction because this back EMF is opposed the circuit voltage E minus L di by dt. This is the net instantaneous EMF in the circuit. But we are taking an assumption. This is a pure inductor. That is, the resistance of this inductor is tends to 0. For convenience, we are taking it 0. It have only inductive property, no resistive property. So we can write as the resistance of the inductor is 0, E minus L di by dt is equal to 0. So that is sigma E is equal to sigma I into R. That is, the sum of EMF is equal to the sum of product of current and resistance. But resistance is equal to 0. So we are writing as E minus L di by dt is equal to 0. Algebraic sum of EMF is equal to 0 because the resistance is equal to 0. So we can rewrite this equation as E is equal to L into di by dt. E is equal to L into di by dt. Or di by dt is equal to E by L. Rearrange, taking this dt to right side. So di is equal to E by L into dt. We want an expression for the current. So we can write the integral di is equal to instead of E, we are substituting that E0 sine omega t, that is E0 sine omega t by L into dt. E0 is the peak value of voltage and L is the self-inductance of this inductor. They are constant. So we are keeping outside E0 by L. and integral sine omega t dt. Integral sine omega t dt. We know that it is minus cos omega t by omega plus 1 constant of integration. Now we are writing I is equal to E0. We are taking this omega outside, that E0 by L omega into cos omega t. Into cos omega t. The minus sign is the with the minus sign. I is equal to minus E0 by L omega cos omega t. Now E0 is a constant, L omega all are constant. So we are writing E0 by L omega is the peak value of current. E0 by L omega is the peak value of current and writing as I0. So now this equation can be rewrite as minus I0 cos omega t. I is equal to minus I0 cos omega t. The instantaneous value of current in this inductive circuit is equal to I is equal to minus I0 cos omega t. So this is the instantaneous voltage E equal to E0 sin omega t. Instantaneous current I equal to minus I0 cos omega t. Now we can write this current as a sine function because the voltage is a sine function, and if you are converting this cos function as a sine function, we can study the phase relation between them. For that, we are writing this I is equal to minus I0 into, instead of cos, we are writing sine 90 minus omega t. That is sine pi by 2 minus omega t. The reason cos theta is equal to sine pi by 2 minus theta. So we are writing I equal to minus I0 sine pi by 2 minus omega t. Oh, I is equal to, we take this minus sign to here, that is minus sine theta is equal to sine of minus theta. So I equal to I0 sine of minus pi by 2 minus omega t. So distribute the minus sign, omega t minus pi by 2. So that's the equation for instantaneous current in the circuit. I equal to I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2. And this is the instantaneous voltage, E equal to E0 sine omega t, and I equal to I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2. See, compare the phase. Here the phase is omega t minus pi by 2. Here the phase is omega t. So we can say the voltage lead the current by pi by 2 radian. The phase difference between the voltage and the current is pi by 2. The voltage lead the current by a phase angle pi by 2 radian. Or otherwise we can say the phase difference between this voltage and current is pi by 2. Current lag behind the voltage by pi by 2 radian. So the phase relationship between voltage and current is drawn in this graph. So here the omega t is taken on x-axis and the voltage and the current is taken on y-axis. First, if you are plotting the graph for voltage, voltage is a sine function, E equal to E0 sine omega t. That is, when omega t is equal to 0, voltage is equal to 0. When omega t is equal to 90 degree, pi by 2 radian, we can say the voltage is maximum. When omega t is equal to 180, voltage comes to 0. When omega t is equal to 270, voltage comes to maximum in opposite direction, because omega t is equal to 270, sine omega t, sine 270 is minus 1. So minus E0, it's getting minus E0. This value is minus E0. Okay, then when the angle omega t is equal to 360, the voltage comes to 0. So that's a variation of voltage. Now see the variation of current. We can write the current as either I equal to I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2 or I equal to minus I0 cos omega t. Better you take this, minus I0 cos omega t. When omega t is equal to 0, we're getting minus 1. Cos K0 is 1 with a minus 1, with a minus sign. That become minus I0. When omega t is equal to 0, that is cos 0 is 1, so I equal to minus I0. This is the current. When omega t is equal to 90 degree, cos 90 comes to 0. So this is the position of current. Then omega t is equal to 180. Omega t is equal to 180. When omega t is equal to 180, cos 180. Cos 180 is minus 1. So minus become plus. So I equal to maximum, I0. Again, when omega t is equal to 270, cos 270 comes to 0. So current comes to 0. When omega t is equal to 360, cos 360 is 1. So minus I0. Minus sign is there. So minus I0. When it is 360, it comes to minus I0. So that's a variation of current. It shows that when current is when the voltage is 0, current is lagging behind that, it is maximum in opposite direction. When voltage comes to maximum, current only comes to 0. That is, voltage is leading always, or current lag behind the voltage in an inductive circuit. To show this phase relation between the voltage and current, we can draw a phasor diagram. So in this phasor diagram, this is the phasor for voltage, instantaneous voltage. The phase is omega t. Voltage, the phase is omega t. So this is the position of the voltage phasor, and this is the peak value. And see, current is lag behind this voltage by 90 degree, pi by 2 radian. So this is 90 degree, pi by 2 radian. So this is the position of the current phasor. This is the peak value of the current phasor, I0. So this shows that the phase relation between the voltage and the current in an inductive circuit. This is a phasor for voltage, and this is current, and the angle between this voltage phasor and current phasor is pi by 2 radian. Current lag behind the voltage by pi by 2 radian. That's the phase relation between voltage and current in an inductive circuit. Now let us see what is inductive reactance. When you are finding an expression for the current through an inductor, we got the I is equal to minus E0 by L omega into cos omega t. And we wrote E0 by L omega, voltage by L omega, peak voltage by L omega as I0. And we write this equation as minus I0 cos omega t. What is I0 is E0 by L omega. Actually, in a resistive circuit, we are writing peak voltage by resistance is equal to peak value of current. So if you are comparing these two equations, here I0 is equal to E0 by R. Current is equal to peak voltage by resistance. Here in an inductive circuit, peak value of current is equal to voltage by some value. So we can compare this resistor R and L omega. When you are comparing this, both having the same function. When you are dividing peak voltage by resistance, we are getting the peak value current. So peak value of voltage divided by L omega as peak value of current. So we can say L into omega act like as a resistance in a resistive circuit. In an inductive circuit, the L omega is doing the function of resistance in a resistive circuit. So we calling this L omega, it's the opposition offered by the inductive circuit for the growth and decay of current. So L omega is the effective opposition offered by the inductor, and we calling as inductive reactance. It is the measure of the effective resistance or opposition offered by the inductor to the flow of AC through it. Such a non-resistive opposition, remember it is not a resistive opposition, it is a non-resistive opposition to the flow of AC current is called inductive reactance. We know for a pure inductor there is no resistance, but this is a non-resistive opposition. There is an opposition for both decay and growth of current, but it is not resistive. And the measure of that opposition is known as inductive reactance. So we can say L omega is the inductive reactance. L omega is the measure of that opposition and we calling that inductive reactance. And it is denoted by a symbol XL. Inductive reactance is equal to omega into L. But you know omega is equal to 2 pi into frequency of that AC, 2 pi into frequency into L. The relation between the inductive reactance and the self-inductance or L is XL is proportional to frequency. XL is proportional to frequency. It means when the frequency of our source increases, the XL, inductive reactance, also increases. When there is no frequency, frequency is 0 for a AC source. Sorry, for a DC source. You know that. For a DC source, there is no frequency. Means it's a direct current. Frequency is 0. Then inductive reactance we are getting as 0. Inductive reactance is equal to 0 means the inductor do not provide any opposition for DC current. It just behave like as a conductor. There is no function for an inductor in a DC circuit because once the frequency is 0, there is no opposition offered by the inductor to the flow of DC. But when the frequency is there, frequency increases, the XL is also increases. Frequency and inductive reactance are directly proportional. Inductor can offer opposition for only in an AC circuit. There is no function for an inductor in a DC circuit because the frequency is 0, XL is equal to 0. Now let us find an expression for energy stored in an inductor. When an inductor is connected to a source of EMF, current start growing in that circuit. When the current start growing in that circuit, the inductor opposes that by producing an opposing EMF or by sending an opposing current. It opposes the growth of current. So the source of EMF want to expend its own energy for the development of the current in the circuit, for the further development of current in that circuit. So that work done by the source is stored as magnetic energy in this inductor. Let's find an expression for the magnetic energy in that inductor. Here we have an inductor of inductance L connected to a source of EMF. The current start growing in that circuit. Let I be the current through the inductor L at any instant t. The current rises at the rate of di by dt. So the induced EMF is E is equal to minus L into di by dt. The L is the inductance of this coil and di by dt is the growth of current. So induced EMF or back EMF is equal to minus L di by dt. The minus sign shows that it is opposite direction of the circuit EMF or applied EMF. The magnitude of induced EMF we can write as L into di by dt. L into di by dt. So the work done against this induced EMF in a small time dt is, the work done by the source can be written as dw is equal to power into dt, instantaneous power into dt. So power we are writing as magnitude of induced EMF E into I into dt, EI dt. So E is equal to L di by dt into I into dt is the I into dt, this I into dt. So dt and dt can be cancelled, Li into di. So this is the small work done. So actually the total work done in building up the current from 0 to I0. This is the small work done for the increase of a current di. But we want to increase the current from 0 to I0. So the total work done can be write as 0 to I0 dw. That's equal to 0 to I0 Li into di. So work is equal to L is constant. We are taking half L into integral I di become I square by 2. So we are taking the 2 outside, half L into I square from 0 to I0. So upper limit is I0, lower limit is 0. So I0 square minus 0 square become I0 square only. Half L I0 square. Half L I0 square. So that is the work done by the source. So this work done is stored as a magnetic field energy And so the energy stored in an inductor can be written as half L I0 square. Half L I0 square. That's the energy stored in this inductor. Now let us find the average power associated with an inductor. Average power associated with an inductor. Say V equal to V0 sine omega t. That is the instantaneous voltage in an inductor. And the current in that inductor lag behind this voltage by pi by 2 radians. So we can write current I equal to minus I0 cos omega t. This is the expression for the instantaneous voltage, and this is instantaneous current. So work done in small time dt is equal to dw is equal to instantaneous power into dt. The small work done is equal to instantaneous power into dt. So we can write the instantaneous power as minus V0 I0 sine omega t cos omega t dt, because we know power is equal to V into I. What V equal to V0 sine omega t, and what is I equal to minus I0 cos omega t. Multiplying it, minus V0 I0 sine omega t cos omega t. So substitute that. Minus V0 I0 sine omega t cos omega t into dt. So that's the work done in a very small time interval dt. So we can rearrange like this way. The dw is equal to V0 I0 by 2 minus V0 I0 by 2. So sine 2 omega t cos omega t. If it is sine 2 theta, sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cos theta. 2 sine theta cos theta. Or we are writing as sine theta cos theta as sine 2 theta by 2. Sine 2 theta by 2. So we are writing as minus V0 I0 by 2 sine 2 omega t. This we are writing as sine 2 omega t by 2. So dw is equal to minus V0 I0 by 2 sine 2 omega t. So the average power dissipated per cycle in the inductor. This for a very small time interval dt. So average power can be written as total work by time. So total work means integral dw. So 1 by t integral dw. What's integral dw? 0 to t dw minus V0 I0 by 2 sine 2 omega t dt. Now average power is equal to V0 I0 are constant. We are taking it outside. So minus V0 I0 by 2 into t, and integrate 0 to t. We are doing integral 0 to t sine 2 omega t dt. Sine 2 omega t dt. Once we integrate it, we will get as cos 2 omega t by 2 omega within a limit 0 to t. So 2 omega you can take outside because omega is constant. So minus V0 I0 by 2 into 2 become 4 t omega. Now we are giving limit. So omega we can write as 2 pi by t. So cos 2 into 2 pi by t into cos upper limit minus lower limit. Lower limit is 0. So we can write cos 0. So t and t getting cancelled. So minus V0 I0 by 4 t into omega cos 4 pi minus cos 0. Cos 0. Actually it is cos 0. But cos 4 pi is 1 and cos 0 is also 1. So we can write as the average power is equal to minus V0 I0 by 4 omega t into 1 minus 1, because cos 0 is 1 and cos 4 pi is also 1. 1 minus 1 becomes 0. So average power in a complete cycle we are getting as 0. So the average power dissipated per cycle in an inductor is 0. For an inductor, the average power dissipated per cycle in an inductor is always 0. That's all about the voltage and the current relation and the power dissipation in a pure inductive circuit. That's all today. Thank you.